Gigas land, because who doesn't? A native resident of Myanmar, the turtle was long believed to be extinct due to a very extended period of time between 1908 and 1994 that saw absolutely no sightings of this unique animal. But in 1994, a number of Arakan forest turtles were discovered for sale in an Asian food market. Again, raising the possibility that these creatures were not exactly extinct, but in hiding. Several years later, an expedition revealed that the animals were not totally extinct, but there weren't many. However, since 2009, there have been little to no reported sightings of the Arakan forest turtle, though its continued presence at Asian food markets would suggest that it's not actually extinct at all. Number 3. Philippine naked-backed fruit bat. You've heard of a bat, but have you heard of a mega bat? The Philippine naked-backed fruit bat is one of these legendary creatures that apparently nobody has ever heard of. Okay, that I have never heard of, and probably for a good reason. It's extinct, or maybe it's not. Look, we have to build tension somehow. This species of bat was most common on Negro's Island, where it could often be found in caves with very little light. The reason for it choosing this home over all others comes down to a very simple factor: food. Negro Island was the home of sugar canes, as well as a gross fish poop fertilizer known as guano, which bats apparently love, providing a quick dose of food for sun-deprived bats. Unfortunately, the sugarcane plantations were all but gone by the 1980s, leaving the bat hungry and in search of a new home. Between 1964 and 2000, the bat was not sighted whatsoever, and ultimately believed to be extinct. In 2000, the bat was sighted once again in its new home of Cebu Island, making it most likely a critically endangered species rather than an extinct one. Of course, all that is guesswork, and there's really no way to know if the animal is extinct or endangered. Put some fish poop out and see if they turn up. Number 2. West African koala scent. We don't tend to consider fish much when we think of extinct animals, but there are just as many marine creatures that have been lost to time as land dwellers. Case in point, the West African coelacanth, an animal with a name that's fun to say in just about every accent. The African coelacanth has a pretty incredible ancestry, dating all the way back to the age of the dinosaurs, some 65 million years ago. After a lengthy period of absence, the African coelacanth was presumed to be extinct, only it wasn't. Or maybe it was, but it discovered time travel. It's possible. Whatever happened, in 1938, the African coelacanth was rediscovered, albeit it's slightly different since its evolution from the bony dinosaur-like animal. It's believed that there's a tiny, isolated species alive in Tanzania, which would explain the finding of this particular animal. But are they still around? Well, like just about every other apparently living extinct animal, we don't know. We're just here to make videos, man. In 2016, the coelacanth was officially listed as a threatened species, which is a pretty bold move given that we don't even know if it's extinct. Number 1. Takahe birds. New Zealand is one of the most gorgeous countries in the world, busted with colour, life and culture, and apparently their animals are very much part of that. The Takahe bird is an indigenous creature to New Zealand, a flightless vegetarian bird that could at one time be found all over New Zealand. Now that veganism is a popular thing, they probably love modern New Zealand. The species was first discovered in 1847 by Europeans who collected several species for further study. That was probably a good idea given that they were all but extinct by 1898, with seemingly no further reported sightings for years until 1948. After a well-researched and carefully planned expedition, bushwalker and doctor Geoffrey Orbell discovered the Takahe alive and well in an isolated valley on the South Island. The discovery was shocking to many, but very well received. The Takahe is now considered to be an endangered species, though they have a growing population that will likely prevent any repeats of the period between 1898 and 1948. Thanks to Geoffrey Orbell's find, the creatures are alive and well, but far from extinction, one of the few formerly extinct animals that has any confidence behind it. Which of these animals would you most like to see in person? Let us know in the comments. Also, check out our other cool stuff showing up on screen right now. See you next time.
We're fascinated by animals that behave in ways we would never expect. Millions of us watch clips of different species that normally wouldn't come together, showing what looks like friendship, affection, and even love towards each other.
Hate to one look at her. Thank you. I'll take over now.
You love it. That just melts your heart, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But what lies can science explain why these unusual partnerships take place? I'm Liz Bonin, and I'm going on a worldwide journey of discovery to find out why animals of different species make friends with each other. Why a cat would adopt ducklings.
I was blown away by what I'd seen. I just couldn't believe it.
If an orangutan could really keep a dog as a pet. Or if two animals of different species could even fall in love. So handsome. I'm on a mission to find the world's cutest and weirdest animal friends. This jaguar and Jack Russell are inseparable. When staff tried to move the jaguar to a bigger enclosure of its own as it grew up, they were having none of it. Both cried and whined incessantly until they were finally reunited. And, you know, this does beg the question, how on earth does this work? Cats and dogs don't normally get along. But here in this wildlife park in South Africa, Bullet the Jack Russell is best mates with a predatory jaguar named Jag, who could easily have him for dinner. But instead, Bullet and Jag spend as much time as they can together in this enclosure. They eat and sleep together and are always playing together. So what's going on? For a long time, we've thought that most animals of different species have evolved to stick to their own kind and to generally not get along. But in recent years, the internet has been changing.
She's been trying to get this mouse all day. She finally got it. I missed the initial strike, but she got it when I went to go get something to drink. When I went to get some water, she finally got it. This is a nice sized mouse too. Mouse was fighting all day. Got it in the head. She is very pleased right now. This is her first large mouse. Well, medium-sized mouse. This is a Cameroon baboon tarantula, or the maroon baboon tarantula, or this is a baboon tarantula.